So this happened about a week ago in Texas. Again, this has nothing to do with the redistricting stuff that is happening there, and it doesn't have to do with the Ten Commandments. But about a week ago, the Texas Senate opened its session with a Christian invocation. And there's two things about the Christian invocation that I want to tell you about. The first is it was delivered by State Senator Angela Paxton, who happens to be the former wife of the wildly corrupt Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, whom she recently divorced on biblical grounds, which is the greatest excuse for saying this dude is a horrible monster. And I know he's running for Senate right now, and I want to destroy his campaign right now. So Angela Paxton is the one who delivered the words of Jesus to everybody. But the thing about it is that while she was delivering it, there were some people in the gallery of the state Senate who apparently chose not to stand. Maybe because they don't really have a lot of respect for Angela Paxton, or maybe they don't care about the invocation. I don't care about the invocation. I'm not going to stand up and yell while you say it, but I'm not going to stand up and put my hand over my heart for it. And guess what? That's a totally normal thing to do. You don't have to stand for the invocation. You don't have to say the invocation. You don't have to sing the national anthem or put your hand over your heart and stand up at a baseball game when they're doing that either. But be polite while other people do it. You know what I mean? So that was thing one. Angela Paxton gave the invocation. The second thing to tell you about that invocation is after she finished, the lieutenant governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, he basically delivered a lecture to all those people in the stands who did not stand for the invocation. And let me play this message for you.
To those in the gallery, please be seated. Thank you for standing. For those of you who didn't stand, next time you come to the gallery, you stand for the invocation. It's respecting the Senate. If you don't stand for the invocation, I'll have you removed. We asked you to stand. I've never seen a gallery ever have any members in my 17 years of people who refuse to stand for the invocation. It will not be tolerated.
It will not be tolerated. Bullshit. Again, you could do whatever you want as long as you're not disrupting the others. And by the way, it is weird that, as many people pointed out, you know who's not able to stand for an invocation? The governor of Texas, who is in a wheelchair. But again, usually if you're at a baseball game, they say things like, stand if you are able to. Dan Patrick didn't say any of that. He's just saying stand or else we're basically I'll have you removed, is what he said. It is a little ironic that Dan Patrick thinks forced prayer is a sign of respect, as if intentions don't really matter at all. But that's been true his entire career. It's always been about performative Christianity, not actually doing anything that would resemble the Sermon on the Mount. Dan Patrick's own website brags about how he got "In God We Trust" signs put in the Senate chamber, and how he got the words "under God" into the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, which is a whole thing, all while supporting policies that hurt the most vulnerable people in the state. But the bottom line is what he said is illegal. He has no business threatening anybody with removal from the Senate chambers for not playing along with a Christian prayer. I appreciate what one Democratic state senator said. Let me show you this. This is from Senator Sarah Eckhart, who said, just a quick reminder, the First Amendment protects your right to stand or not stand for prayer in the Texas Senate. Don't be bullied. And now the Freedom from Religion Foundation has sent a letter to Dan Patrick, and they're basically saying, what the hell are you talking about? Look at this paragraph at the top. Your threat is unconstitutional and discriminatory. Citizens have the right to attend legislative proceedings without being coerced into religious observance. And this is the story of Texas right now. It's all about them coercing you into their beliefs, and they don't care about what your beliefs are. Your assertion that standing is merely a sign of respect for the Senate does not change the constitutional analysis. So this goes on for a while, but they basically ask at the very end of this, we urge you to immediately retract your statement and make clear to the public that the government will not require people to stand or otherwise participate in prayer at the Texas Senate, which I appreciate that FFRF is asking him to do. I have no qualms that he's actually going to do it. I know he's not going to respond to that. He's still going to be a dick about it because, again, it's Texas. It's what they do. But one of the things that attorney for the Freedom from Religion Foundation pointed out that I thought was really interesting is that they brought up the fact, I'm trying to pull this up and it's not showing up here. Here we go. In 2007, Dan Patrick himself was a state senator. And this is interesting. At the time, another Republican in the state Senate invited a Muslim person, a Muslim cleric, to deliver the invocation. And what did Dan Patrick do when that was going on? If I scroll down here, here we go. Republican Dan Patrick on Wednesday boycotted the first prayer delivered in the Texas Senate by a Muslim cleric and then praised religious tolerance and freedom of speech in an address at the end of the day's session. I think that it's important that we are tolerant of people of all faiths, but that doesn't mean we have to endorse all faiths, and that was my decision, he said later. I surely believe that everyone should have the right to speak, but I did not want my attendance on the floor to appear that I was endorsing that. So Dan Patrick, as a Muslim leader, was giving the invocation, which, by the way, as far as I could tell, was inoffensive and totally normal. Not only did Dan Patrick just not stand, he left the chambers because he said if I was even breathing the same air as that Muslim guy, that would be me endorsing his religion. And what is Dan Patrick saying now? He's saying if you don't stand up and remain in the chamber, but stand up during the Christian invocation, I'm going to kick you out because how dare you disrespect my religion. Kudos to Chris Line from FFRF from pointing that out. So that's where we're at right now. It's not like Dan Patrick understands this hypocrisy because, again, these are the same Texas leaders who insist on further gerrymandering their own state to block Democrats from having representation in Congress while flipping out at the prospect of California basically doing the same thing in retaliation. And by all of this could be avoided if they just got rid of the stupid invocation in the first place. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's not making any of those Republicans better people. They're all moral monsters. Anyone who wants to pray can just do it before the session starts. They do it in their office, do it in the car, on the way to the office, whatever you want. The only reason Republicans have invocations in these chambers is to make clear that their brand of Christianity and the government are intertwined. So that's it. The one other thing I wanted to show you is Dan Patrick right now. Guess what he does? In addition to being lieutenant governor of Texas, he sits on Donald Trump's Religious Liberty Commission, where he serves as its chair. For Dan Patrick, religious freedom just means everyone gets to celebrate my version of Christianity. And if you don't like my version or you're celebrating a different religion, it's blasphemy. Right? I mean, you know what I would like to see? What I would love to see is more Texans showing up to the Senate chambers if they have access to it, and then remaining seated during the invocation prayers. Do it as a form of protest. That is good trouble. But as much as I would like to see that, I also don't want the burden of responsibility to be on casual observers of the Senate who have a right to be there. It should be on the leaders of the Texas Republican Party who set the rules for decorum. Unfortunately, Texas Republicans are not interested in representing everyone in their state. They just want to use their power to force their will on everyone else, whether it's by rigging elections, changing maps, or demanding that the public honor the Christian God, and we don't care what you believe in. And I think this also says something about the broader strategy of Republican leadership here. They always want to control public spaces. They always want to control public expression and public conscience to serve their own ideological agenda. If Christianity if it deserved to be respected, people would be standing and saying this stuff on their own. But because we see what Texas Republicans do with their power, constantly fighting each other to see who can be more cruel to the least of these, I get why some people may not want to stand for the prayer. And I would bet that some of those people who did not stand were also Christians themselves. So that's why Dan Patrick is trying to force them to do it, because the religion he follows isn't worthy enough for other people to follow it on its merits. All right, I will stop there. What other questions we got here? Oh, damn, he's as petty as his God is. Very much so. They're all this petty. Every time you hear these Texas Republicans speaking, it's always the dumbest shit. Invoke this. You don't even need to say more. I can feel it. I would just, I'd go just to not stand next time. That's the thing. Do I want random people to go there and not stand as a form of protest? Because I don't want them to get kicked out and have to deal with that hassle. But also, I kind of do. I don't live there. Maybe someone else can do it.